Hello Aquarius, welcome to your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide, right? And remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there is a 10 of Swords. Let's put that into some context. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. And as I lay these cards out, I would also like to say that if there's anything you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. Okay. So finishing up now with the Path of the Serpent. Wow, this is really great energy. We're going to do a mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use the Handel Tarot deck. My wife and daughter got this for me as an early Father's Day gift. I literally have just opened it before I started filming. And we're going to use this as our mystery card today. So we're going to take one card, we're going to put the lizard on top. We're going to leave it over there. We're not going to look at it until the very end of the reading. And hopefully that will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need. Okay. So, looking around here, we've got major, lots of majors. Lots of majors. We've got some fire, some air, some fire, some earth. Okay, it's pretty good. Got a pretty nice balance. I see that we're missing a little bit of water energy. So I kind of feel like with all of this heat and all of this air, things are getting a little dry. You know, I think that we're going to need a little bit of hydration at the end of this. Okay, so I think that's something important to keep in mind, that all of this, it looks like some wonderful creative work that we're doing. We're really manifesting our goals. We are growing. We are making progress. I think, especially on the Path of the Serpent, we are becoming our true self. You know, we are becoming this kind of fully realized spiritual being, right? Capable of anything, right? We might need a little bit of water, right? We might need to kind of hydrate. If we're running a marathon, we may have to pick up a little cup of water here and there, okay? So that's something important to keep in mind, because I kind of feel like you're so busy with all of this activity that we might forget to drink water, right? The spiritual water. We start with the 10 of Swords. You are someone who will not put up with any kind of BS, right? You're not a gullible person. No one can pull the wool over your eyes. You can see through people like they are made of glass. You're very discerning, right? You can be objective. You can be, you can step back. You can see things from a different perspective. You can see things from like above and behind, you know, and you know when people are full of it. You know when a situation is too good to be true. You know when something isn't working. You have a very keen sense of perception. You're very aware. Basically, you have a very, very strong BS detector, ultimately, is what it comes down to. So whatever is going on in your life right now, which I think is a lot, I think you're undergoing some very intense spiritual transformations, spiritual activations. I feel like probably you're having maybe even a type of Kundalini experience. I think it's very intense for you right now, a lot of fire. I mean, a lot of fire. If we look at this, we've got a little bit of air here, right? Fire, 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 and even the Sun card is fire, right? I mean, it's a ball of fire. It's literally the biggest ball of fire that we are experiencing, I think, right, from this planet that we're on. So all of this intensity requires you to be very discerning, very honest, very aware, right? You have to keep your head on a swivel, so to speak, so that you don't fall into any traps, so you don't, so you're not convinced of something that isn't true, right? You have a very strong resolve for what you believe. But that doesn't mean that you're not able to see through your own BS, right? That's a big part of it. Very big part of it. I think that could be maybe a very significant part of the current spiritual work that you're doing, is learning to see through your own BS. Who you thought you were, what you thought you were doing, what you thought you were supposed to do, how you thought you felt, the things that you believed, the things that other people tell you you should believe, the things that you've convinced yourself that you believe. I feel like we're breaking down a lot of perceptions, a lot of false beliefs, a lot of false ideals, the illusion, right? The story that we've told ourselves, the image of reality that we had. I think it's shattering. I think it's the key word for this card is ruin, right? And sometimes ruined things are better than, when they were living structures, right? Sometimes it might be better to look upon things as kind of being better off destroyed than being solid reality around us, So when we break free, and we see a lot of that, we've got some tower energy right here in the middle. That tower energy is you really breaking free of anything that's constraining you, even if it's coming from yourself, from your own mind, ego, whatever. Anything that is imprisoning you or restraining you, restricting you, or trying to contain your spirit, you are breaking free from that. And the first step to breaking free is to recognize that we are being restricted, that we are being held back, right? Either by ourselves or from some outside force. So I think first what happened was you had this kind of activation. This is the lust or strength card. I think that you had this spiritual experience, maybe a Kundalini awakening, some kind of mystical or magical experience that really was probably accompanied by a lot of light, a lot of heat, hence all the fire that we see here. This was an intense spiritual experience for you. And I'm not going to pretend that I know the details or try to say what those details were or what that experience was like. If this is resonating, you know already. Okay? I can only liken it to a Kundalini type experience, a full chakra activation, a religious or spiritual experience. It's like a spiritual inflammation, right? Not in a bad way. I know that sounds medical, but really being on fire with that spiritual energy, okay? I think that's something that you've endured. I think it's something that you have not learned how to control, but you've learned how to kind of tolerate it, right? You're not getting used to it, but you're familiar with it a little bit. So when it kind of comes on, and I don't think it's just one and done, I think it's a periodic thing. I think it happens perhaps more intensely. Maybe it builds up in intensity and then it kind of goes back down again. But it's not just a one-time thing. So you're kind of acclimating to it a little bit. You're learning how to use it or how to be, how to yield to it rather than resist it. Okay? I think this is the basis for all of this fire energy. And some of the illusions that we are now shattering, the mental or the perceptual ruins that are around us now, are changing the way we're seeing reality. I think you're beginning to realize your power, your potential, your creative abilities. You're beginning to see yourself more as a cosmic being than just a kind of terrestrial being. Right? This is the universe or world card. I think you're beginning to get a sense, after we've kind of torn down the preconceived structure of reality, this kind of consensus reality. We've gotten rid of those illusions somewhat. We're working on this continually. is a process. You're beginning to get a cosmic perspective on life. You're seeing yourself in the context of the entire universe. Now, this is a very humbling experience, I think, but it's also a very empowering experience. And to demonstrate that, we have the Hermit and we have the Two of Wands on either side, top and bottom of this experience. So it's a humbling experience. We have Hermit energy. You get a sense of how small we really are by feeling, not just intellectually understanding that the universe is a very big place, not just understanding that we're just a little tiny microscopic speck of dust on a little bit larger speck of dust. Not just intellectually knowing that, but you have this existential knowledge of it, this kind of Gnostic experience of it. And that is a very humbling thing. And that, I think, also is putting you in touch with that, the divine mentor, the spirit guides, guardian angels, ancestors, God, goddess, deity, universal mind, universal energy. Whatever that is that we can experience sometimes as light, right? I think a lot of the times it's experienced as an inner light that we sense. And I like that we have this Hermit energy, and the Hermit has this lamp, because this is coming in contact with that spiritual mind, entity, whatever you want to call it. That is kind of part and parcel of this cosmic reality, this kind of cosmic perspective, cosmic experience, whatever we want to call it. This almost awareness of the infinite. Okay. So the humility, the humbleness, the feeling that we are smaller than, is putting you in touch with what feels like is greater than, right? So you are microcosm. You are in touch through this light, through this lamp. You're in touch with macrocosm. Okay. So this is having a kind of direct link with your spirit, your true self, guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. And on the other side, at the top, we also have a Two of Wands. This is the sense of empowerment, this cosmic perspective that we're talking about, the breaking down of the consensus reality, the achievement or the attainment of this cosmic perspective is giving you a very powerful feeling. You feel as if you might be one with the universe, right? And if we are one with the universe, then we are that infinite. We are that power, right? We are everything within the universe, manifest and unmanifest. And therefore, all of that power is us, and we are it. Now, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of fire energy. And that, we have to keep that in check via this Hermit energy. This kind of humbleness, this surrender and kind of yielding, this acceptance of this higher power that we communicate with and that we can, receive love and instruction and etc. But man, it gives you that sense of power. This is feeling as if the entire universe is yours, right? That you have this cosmic vehicle now, and you can go anywhere you want in the entire infinite universe. Every realm, every distant star system is yours, right? You rule this empire. Well, now we're getting a little inflated. We need to come back to the Hermit a little bit. But these are the kind of the two opposite ends of this spectrum of energy that you feel, right? In the one sense, you feel infinitely large. In the other sense, you feel infinitely small. Both at the same time, right? Now, this Tower energy. Now let's start going down a practical road. You're breaking free from any constraints, self-imposed or otherwise, that are preventing your creativity, preventing your expression, preventing your success, your happiness, your fulfillment, your achievement, your attainment of yourself, of who you are. Okay? And that's the Tower energy, breaking free of all of that which constrains you or restricts you. Anything that is trying to contain that fire energy. Because that fire energy now is such a force that it's breaking these walls down. Whatever these chains are, whatever these constraints are, you're breaking them down. Now that brings us over to kind of the practical side of things. On the path of the serpent, we start with the Seven of Wands. Well, that's still some fire energy. But now this is the practical application of, we know, at least we should know in a relative way, that there are things that can hurt us. Okay, we may feel like we are one with the universe and that we are the same as this infinite power, but down here on this plane, in this relative space, we can still be hurt. We can still run out of energy, right? We can still get injured. We can still get sick. There are still powers and forces and entities and elements that we cannot overcome. That we can't, this Tower energy isn't going to automatically break down any obstacle or anything in our way all the time, forever. We still are humans living human existences, human lives. So things are relative. Things can hurt us, right? So the Seven of Wands is saying that, look, you may feel like this infinite force, but we are also just this human force. And as humans, we have some frailty. We have some vulnerability, okay? I am sorry to break the news, but we can get ourselves in a little bit of trouble, right? We can, too much of this Two of Wands confidence, I guess, can get us into a little bit of trouble. So we have to be smart about it. I'm not saying that you should shrink away from any of your challenges. No, we're trying to maximize this Tower energy. So definitely confront your fears. Confront that which restricts you, but be smart about it. Be reasonable, be practical, right? You can't break down a brick wall by just running your head into it. Don't try that. It won't work. The wall will win every time. That's the Seven of Wands. That's the Seven of Wands. It's understandable that you want to. This card wants to. This card is, ruled by some martial Mars energy, some Martian energy. So you've got the desire to do, you've got the will to do it. And you should do it, but don't use your head. Try something else. Try something that has a better chance of succeeding, and that isn't going to kind of end your run, So that's the idea behind the Seven of Wands. Now we move over to the Six of Discs. This is a lot of light. This card represents the hexagram, right? It's a Six of Discs. And in the middle of the hexagram really is kind of an astrological symbol, represents all 7 planets. 7, you say, but it's a hexagram. There's 6 points. The sun is right in the middle, the 7th planet, the sun, the source of it all. What illumines all of it, the center of our solar system, about which everything else rotates and upon which everything else depends. We get our light, our life, our love from that sun. The sun is what makes all of these other planets go round. And all of these other planets are the different aspects of you, your internal energies, but also all of the different aspects of your life externally. This new reality, we said we kind of are breaking down consensus reality. Well, what's going to take its place? Well, you have to decide that. You have to build that. If you are the enlightened being, if you are this sun, well, we've got the sun card at the end. I'm sure you've noticed that. If you are this star in infinite space, what are the planets that you're attracting to yourself? What is it that you are manifesting? What do you want to surround yourself with? What does your solar system look like? What are your planets, right? So this is the card of material success. This is saying that you're surrounding yourself with what you want. You're building your reality according to your will. So what is it that you're trying to build? What is it that you want in your life? What are you trying to manifest, right? What does material success look like to you? What are the planets that you want to have in your orbit? That's the question. That's what we need to rebuild reality now. If we're tearing down consensus reality, we need to rebuild. We've got the Empress next. It's in the position of what you don't want. It's what you don't want. And this is some softness. This is kind of this is the counterpart to some of this martial energy that we see. We see quite a bit of the Mars energy, to be honest. The Two of Wands, that's some martial energy. And we've the Seven of Wands, that's some martial energy. We kind of talked about what that energy wants to do, wants to just run headfirst into a brick wall to get through the brick wall. Well, the Empress energy is what's going to tend to your wounds after you realize that the wall is going to win. This is a little bit of nurturing, a little bit of affection, a little bit of softness, a little bit of healing, right? This is us being taken care of. But Mars doesn't want that, right? Because Venus is going to kind of quash or quell that martial energy. It's going to make Mars rather soft, or at least that's the kind of myth behind it. That Mars is not going to want to go out and do battle if he isn't just in bed with Venus all day, right? So I think that might be why we don't have the water energy. We're worried maybe that too much water, too much emotion, too much sentimentality, too much softness or yielding, too much love, too much romance, right? Too much affection. Too much of being nurtured or taken care of is going to make us soft. We're going to lose some of this fire energy. And we're not going to want to bash our head through the wall. So, to me, it doesn't sound like a bad thing. Maybe we need a little bit of this. But this is kind of rejecting all of it. This is rejecting all the water. This is rejecting all of the love, all of the affection, all of the romance, perhaps, right? Saying we don't want any of this Venus energy because we don't want it to take us out of the fight. We don't want to spend all day in bed. We need to be out here battling, you know. But I think this is an obstacle for you to get over. I think that there is a way to have both, you know. And I think with the Venus and the Mars energy together, what we might be able to establish is an equilibrium. Equal pressure, right? Just enough force and fire, just enough softness and nurturing. You know, we need to go out and fight, but we also need someone to dress our wounds after. So that kind of equalization is where we get this star from. Now, the star is an object, I guess, a nuclear reactor that is in a constant state of striving for equilibrium, right? We can think of it as the Venus and the Mars kind of struggling against each other. It's always like a push-pull kind of thing. They're just, you know, pushing against each other. It is a nuclear reactor that is trying to produce enough energy to match the pressure of its own gravity. Gravity is trying to crush it. So in order to prevent that, it has to continue to burn and burn and burn and burn more of itself through fire energy to build the pressure outward, to resist the gravity. And that's equilibrium, right? Sometimes, I just did a reading where that kind of equilibrium created this kind of floating balance, right? It's just an effortless kind of state of harmony. That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about just a blissful state where it's just you found that sweet spot and all of the struggle, all of the pressure is gone. No, this is an equilibrium because we don't have the justice or adjustment card here. We have the Sun card. Now with the Sun card, it's a constant struggle. We have to always be vigilant that we don't want to burn too much of our fuel because then we'll run out of fuel. And then we might actually burn so much fuel that we explode, that we completely overcome gravity and we're blown into a million bits. We don't want to use too little fuel because then that gravity is going to crush us. So it's always being vigilant that we're burning just the right amount and we're yielding just the right amount, right? We have to always be on top of it. And this Sun card is your intense creativity. By working on that equilibrium, by always being vigilant and being aware of that and striving for that constantly, that's how you're able to really unleash your potential. And you are able to be the sun in the center of the system and surround yourself with whatever you want your reality to look like. This is a really intense card. And this is at the end of the path of the serpent. So that is the final state. This is kind of what we're going toward. Full realization, full spiritual activation. This is really an amazing potential that you have. And I'm interested in what you're going to do with that. I really am. I really am. We're going to do a mystery card now. Let's take a look at this. The lizard did a fine job of keeping an eye on it. I don't know. I have no idea what this could be. I feel like this reading is already perfect. I feel like this is the perfect reading. Right? So I don't know what this card could be that would make it any better. Well, a Queen of Swords. Interesting. Queen of Swords. This Queen of Swords, it's interesting that the figure on this is Nut, the Egyptian goddess of the sky, which is basically what we see here in the universe or world card. But this is the Queen of Swords. This is the water of the air. So this, it might actually be kind of either, I was going to say maybe an earthly kind of representation of this Venus energy, right? Could be your romantic partner, someone in your life, someone close to you. This could be, though, more of your intellectual understanding that you have to build this into your life. This has to be one of your components, this water energy, right? So in this breaking down of consensus reality, we want to make sure we don't completely throw out this water, right? This Venus energy, this water energy in general. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? Or it's like throwing the bathwater out with all the babies. That's kind of, no, I take that back. But we don't want to get rid of this in our attempt to break down all of these restrictions and everything that we think is working against us. It may be that we've allowed this water energy to work against us in the past, but that doesn't mean that we have to completely eliminate it from our life, right? I think it still needs to be a component in your star system, in your solar system, right? We don't want to get rid of this completely. Okay? And I think it's the potential is there for us to think that, and falsely I think, that any of the water energy is a hindrance. We need to get rid of it all, cut it out from our lives, resist it. No. I think that's a mistake, but I can't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But according to what I see here, I feel like this water/Venus energy is useful as long as we have a good relationship with it. right? And we don't allow ourselves to be imploded by the weight of it, by the force of it. As long as we can match it with our own force and fire, I think it's a very necessary part of what you're doing, the work that you're undergoing, the transformation, the becoming that you're involved with, right? Anyway, we're going to do an extended. If you want to stick around, click on the link right there. I really feel like this was the perfect reading. Yes, I don't think this could have been any better than what it was. I'm very excited for you. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I'd be very grateful if you could hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and maybe share this video around with your friends or on your social media. That really helps out the channel, and I appreciate you. Thanks again for letting me read for you here on Dove and Serpent Tarot.